Aloha everyone, welcome to Heartbeat Narratives. My name is Molly Mommerell and I'm your host. And I'm so over the moon to have Jen Roberts here on the podcast today. Thank you for coming, Jen.
Thank you for having me. This is exciting.
So we are in for a treat, all of you listeners. We've got stories upon stories about to be revealed to us. I met Jen about a month ago when my company was volunteering at the Pantry in Kalihi on Oahu. And you were such a wonderful host to all of us volunteers. And my impression of you is that you get stuff done.
Yep.
You care about the community. And you're so sincere. We were so welcomed, and your team is so competent at serving those who are coming out for food distribution days. What an incredible resource that you are to the community for residents who are food insecure, people of all ages, all ethnicities, coming out and being able to use your online grocery. Is it only an online grocery?
So let me give you the 30-second blip about the Pantry. So we actually just had our 5-year anniversary on April 1st. We are the only e-commerce food distribution center in the state of Hawaii. There's only a handful of these types of food pantries across the U.S. mainland. Basically what it is people can create an account on our website and order food. All of it's free. Everybody qualifies. It doesn't matter if you've got a job and got kids and got a family and got a car and have a home and you're all set up. You're just struggling to make ends meet, as so many people are these days. I mean, literally thousands of people. The most important thing is that because it's an online service, people get to order what they want online to fit their dietary and nutritional needs, which means there's less food waste. So with us, you actually get to order the food that you want that fits your needs. The only downside is sometimes we don't know what food is going to be donated to us. So every week it's going to be something different, but that keeps it interesting. We got really lucky. One of our amazing partners donated eggs last week. So Wednesday, everybody got to order eggs. So you can imagine we were super busy.
I bet, with the egg shortage.
Yes, exactly. So we feed an average of 1,200 families every week, which is upwards of 3,000 people. Last year, I believe we had just a hair under 2,000 volunteers.
Wow.
Last year. But we can always use volunteers.
It was so much fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
The 3-4 hours flew by, and we're already coming back. So I'm glad that we're squeezing this podcast in between because, a little shout out to the Pantry.
Yeah.
So what I've observed is that you're very action-oriented in all areas of your life. We've had a really good conversation prior to hitting record. To just kind of kick us off, where are you from?
Well, when I was a bartender, I would answer that question by saying I'm from my mother, which always made everybody laugh. And once in a while, somebody would come back and say, really, me too? I'm like, oh, my sisters? Oh, you're my sibling, my long-lost sibling. But no, born and raised in Melbourne, Florida, which back then was a little town. Now it's a big city with a big international airport. I grew up with snakes as pets. We had a variety of snakes. I had a pet flying squirrel. Dad was an engineer. Mom was a welder. An artistic welder, 2 older brothers. And then in 1987, wanted to change. So I moved to Hawaii when I turned 21 and became a bartender and did a whole variety of jobs. Too many for this podcast.
We'll get into as much as we can.
Yep.
Because I know we've got a list of not only your hobbies, but things you've done for your career, plus your travels. So you moved here, age 21.
Right.
And then...
So I worked as a bartender. All in all, it was about 35 years as a bartender. Those of you who are over the age of 50 will remember Fast Eddie's in Kailua. I worked there for a long time. When I moved into town, I worked at Mai Tai Bar for 18 years at Alamoana Center. And at the age of 30, I decided I wanted a change in my life. I needed a 401k and a retirement plan and pension and insurance. So I decided to try out for the Honolulu Fire Department.
Wow.
And I wasn't in good physical condition. I could pass the written test, but so it actually took me, all in all, I took my first written test at the age of 30. I walked in the door into recruit class at the age of 39. But it took me 9 years to lose some weight and get into shape. I mean, you got to be in the best shape of your life to be a firefighter. I had a wonderful career. It was absolutely amazing. I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie. So being able to run into burning buildings was just a ton of fun. I know it doesn't sound like fun to some people, but it was a ton of fun to us. Anybody who's an adrenaline junkie would love it. Just to be able to say I was able to help people, a lot of them on the worst day of their lives. I was able to rush up to their side and help them. And, some survived and some didn't. And that's the way life is. But to be able to say I helped as many people as I could, just shy of 18 years in the Honolulu Fire Department before I retired and went to the Pantry.
Amazing. I'm so curious, what were some of your highlight moments of your career? Because 18 years is a long time.
Long time. I can say I only got to deliver one baby in all that time, because typically any childbirth that comes through the 911 system typically goes immediately to EMS, but HFD corresponds with EMS.
Okay.
And we had a lady, she didn't even know she was pregnant and her water broke. And so we were all kind of caught by surprise. We were caught offhand by her reaction. She's like, I'm not pregnant. What are you talking about? We're like, ma'am, your water broke. You're having a baby. So I had not delivered a baby at that point in my career. And I very quickly asked the paramedic, please, can I come? I want to deliver a baby. I want to experience this at some point in my career. So I got to go. And that baby came out on the H1 freeway, like 3 blocks before we got to Kapolani Hospital. That baby was crowning. So if anybody knows anything about delivering babies in an ambulance, you have to stop the ambulance. It's too risky. You hit a pothole, or you swerve, or somebody swerves into you, the ambulance moves, it's too dangerous. We came to a dead stop at like 11 o'clock in the morning on the H1, and we delivered that baby, and that was one of the most amazing experiences I ever had. And the funny part is my mom, who at the time was a volunteer police officer in Florida, and she knew I don't have kids. I've never married or had kids. And the minute I got back to the fire station, I called my mom and went, Mom, I had a baby. Mom, I had a baby. And I'm like 51. Like, Mom, I had a baby. But she knew exactly what I was talking about, because she and my dad were paramedics in Florida for 20 years.
Wow.
So her policeman partner was like, wait, how old's your daughter? And she had a baby? She's like, no, she's on duty. She's like, oh. So that was really super exciting for me. And I had to buy cake and ice cream for the crew, because anytime you have a first of something, your first structure fire, your first water rescue, your first hiking rescue, your first baby delivery, you got to buy cake and ice cream for everybody. That's one of their traditions, which is a lot of fun. But fast forward a year later, and the mother tracked me down, invited me to her 1-year baby luau.
Wow.
And it was the funniest thing, because I was excited to go, but keep in mind, I'd only met this woman for a few minutes. And to be fair, I wasn't focused on what she looked like. I was focused on watching for the baby to crown, because I had to alert the paramedic if the baby was crowning. And so I walked into this baby luau, and I didn't know what the mother looked like, what the baby looked like. And I walked in, the only haole, in this room full of local people. And I had to ask somebody, can you point me in the right direction of the mother? Who's the mother? Who's the baby? And rightly so, she got really defensive. She's like, what you doing, Holly, at our party? You crashing our party? And as soon as I told her I was a firefighter that delivered the baby, then I was like everybody's auntie now. So that was pretty great. It was a really great experience. A lot of my friends in the fire department were in 20 plus years and never got to deliver a baby. So I was really happy that I got to do that. One of the toughest calls I ever went on, I did work the Marco Polo fire in 2017.
Okay.
So, and that was heartbreaking and stressful and just physically completely exhausting. But I was really grateful that I got to experience that. I mean, you go to a lot of Manini calls throughout your career, but to have the opportunity to work the big one,
yeah,
I was really grateful that I was on duty and I was in the area that we were called to that fire. So great career, just shy of 18 years. And then the Pantry found me and I decided to switch gears. But I've had a lot of other jobs in the middle. I worked as a professional model in my 20s. In anticipation of driving fire trucks, I decided to go get my CDL license, commercial driver's license.
No way.
So I was driving limos for Fast Eddies, tour buses for Roberts Hawaiʻi. I was driving delivery trucks for UPS for a while. I wanted to become comfortable driving a really big truck. Mm-hmm. So even though when I first started learning how to drive a fire truck, it's still scary because it's a fire truck, right? And you're not just driving it, you're driving at lights and siren, and you've got people on board and you've got a lot of water. I almost drove the engines, 500 gallons. But I was comfortable maneuvering the vehicle because I had already been driving big vehicles. And then around the same time, I went the complete opposite direction and got a motorcycle, which is kind of funny because I actually grew up on dirt bikes in Florida. I mean, what is there to do in the 60s and 70s in Florida but ride dirt bikes? My best friend had gotten her license because her husband rode. And 6 months later, she's like, Jen, you got to get your license. I want you to come ride with me. So got my license. And a couple of years later, I came across this all-women's motorcycle club called Dangerous Curves Honolulu. It was founded in 2001. I joined it in 2002. I started leading rides in 2005. And now I've been president of the club for roughly 20 years. It's just a riding club. It's not a motorcycle club. All that means is that we don't charge dues and we don't have to pay taxes on it. But it's an amazing group of women. I mean, women from all walks of life. We've got nurses and paramedics and doctors and lawyers. I had a fighter jet pilot for a while. I had another lady who used to fly Blackhawks. A lot of military girls. I mean, I've met some absolutely amazing women. And we ride on the weekends and we have a great time. So look out for us. You see a big group of women riding on Sunday. That also led to another one of my jobs.
Tell me more. This is so fascinating.
So now I'm an instructor at LSCC. I actually teach people how to ride motorcycles on the weekends. Not every weekend. It's just once a month. But it's the Motorcycle Safety Foundation beginner rider course. Some people are experienced, have been riding for 40 years, and they just want to renew their safety skills, their skill sets. And some are brand new, never have been only on a bicycle, never been on a motorcycle. But my favorite thing is when I get an adult, and I mean somebody like 40s and up, that it's been on their bucket list their whole life. They've always wanted to learn how to ride a motorcycle. And the minute they get in gear and they get their feet off the ground and the feet are on the pegs and they're riding their motorcycle across the range at the college, that look on their face, through the helmet, through the face shield, they're just like, oh my gosh, this is my bucket list. I'm doing this. I could ride a motorcycle. But our primary focus there, of course, is safety. Especially I'm on the road all the time on my bike. I want to make sure that the people I'm training are also riding safely and wearing the proper safety gear, because I want everyone to go home to their families and go back to their jobs. I don't want to hear anybody I've trained was in a horrible wreck because they did something crucially wrong. I don't want them to be picked up by one of my firefighter buddies.
Yeah.
Right. I want to make sure they all go home safe. But we are out in the sun. It's typically a 10-hour shift, 2 days in a row. We're on our feet. We're out in the sun on the asphalt. It's exhausting. It is. I'm not a young girl anymore. I'm about to turn 59. So between the Pantry, I just started counting my steps recently.
Oh, okay.
Just for curiosity.
How much are you walking?
On a Tuesday or Thursday, which is basically an admin day, it's mostly office work, I'm walking between 15 and 18,000 steps a day. Wednesdays, I'm averaging about 23 to 25,000, and Fridays, I'm averaging between 27 and 30,000 steps. And I didn't realize that was any big deal until I looked up online and they said, your goal is to walk at least 3,000 steps a day. And I'm like, I've done 3,000 before breakfast. But then I just started monitoring my steps at the motorcycle class. I'm averaging 25,000 steps a day teaching the motorcycle classes.
Wow. That's like a day at Disney or like a day while you're traveling and walking everywhere.
So I haven't even figured out how many miles that is, but it's a lot.
I know that you've done a lot of traveling.
I've done a lot of traveling.
Can you tell me?
I'm on my fourth passport.
Your fourth passport. Yeah. And I know you said that you like to visit other fire stations. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
So my parents are Australian, but my brothers and I were all born in the U.S. in Florida. So we have dual citizenship. But if you know anything about Australians, you know they like to travel. And my parents instill that in us. So I think my first trip to Australia was at the age of 20. But when I left Florida at 21, moved to Hawaii, my two brothers moved to California. Parents were still in Florida. We decided every year, instead of all of us just going back to the same old hometown in Florida, boring, right? We decided our family vacation was going to go to a different country. So almost every year from the time I was 21, we would all meet up in a different country. Mom would plan everything. An amazing self-made travel agent. Mm-hmm. Don't know if I can remember all the trips. Australia more than once, New Zealand, Hong Kong, Singapore, Bali, Fiji, Paris, Kenya, South Africa, and I'm sure I'm leaving a couple more out of there somewhere.
It's quite the list already.
And some places I've been multiple times. We've done Fiji twice. Did we do Bali twice? Lost track. There's been so many trips. But once I became a firefighter, then one of my focus was visit the fire stations. Oh, Kathmandu. We've been trekking in Nepal. Left that out.
No big deal.
But that was a really great trip. But the one thing I found about traveling to third world countries is, we're so focused on, oh man, my smartphone isn't fast enough, or my car isn't expensive enough. And then you go to some place like Kathmandu, where this major city, that half the buildings aren't even completed yet. Like one of the buildings right in the middle of downtown only had 3 walls. They didn't have the money or whatever reason. They couldn't finish the 4th wall. It's a 7-story building. You could see right into everybody's homes. And if they wanted to change clothes or do something that needed privacy, they just close the curtain and then they change or whatever and then open the curtain back up. And there's no recycle, no trash pickup. So people would throw their piles of garbage in the middle of the street. So the tour buses and the tuk-tuks and the mopeds would have to drive around these monstrous piles of trash, which of course by now are covered in maggots. The first day we spent in Kathmandu before we went on our hiking trip in the Himalayas, we were all grumbling about something, I wish faster internet, and I wish I had a better camera. And these people didn't have clothes. I mean, it was absolutely heartbreaking. And you really come back to the US realizing, man, I live in Hawaii. I have a car, a motorcycle. I have a home. I don't have to share with 20 other people.
Yeah.
Wow, you realize how lucky you are that I don't have to fight for food. I have a good job and I get to travel around the world and I get to meet all these amazing people. And same thing when we went to Kenya. Mm-hmm. So Kenya was actually my 25th birthday. And we met these people that happiest people on earth that you'll ever meet. Mm-hmm. But they were so happy just to meet somebody from another country, from the other side of the world. They were just so happy to talk to people who spoke English because they're in school trying to learn English. And the whole tribe was working so they could send, I believe it was the chief's eldest son. They would save money to send the eldest son to a college in another country to learn some kind of trade that they could bring back to help all of the tribes in that area, in that general region.
Yeah.
So, but traveling to third world countries makes you really, really appreciate what we've got living in the United States. Absolutely. And makes you understand why everybody wants to be in the U.S. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Everybody that's even, immigrating legally or not legally, that's why everybody wants to be in the U.S. because our lives are just so much easier. So, I mean, I know times are tough now, but they'll never be as tough as the people in Kathmandu. Yeah. And Thailand. Did I say Thailand? Been in Thailand a couple times. Mom and I actually spent some time in Myanmar. And it was the same. These people, they're so happy and they're so poor. And we were just shocked at how happy they were. And everybody was just thrilled to talk to Mom and I. Yeah. I was raised in an environment to help people. So any money we spent in these third world countries was helping their economy. We gave as much as we could. We actually went to this place called Chai Lai Orchid in Thailand. Mm-hmm. And their focus was they rescue children who are victims of the sex trafficking trade down there. Yeah. They rescue them, rehabilitate them, and get them some kind of a trade or schooling so they can help their community. Yeah, I mean, it's still village, I think would be a good word for it. And so we actually took a duffel bag full of medical supplies, and we quickly realized that it would be a lot cheaper just to buy the medical supplies down there because it's pennies on the dollar to buy a Band-Aid and things like that. So we went and stayed in the little bungalows, and just so happens the day we got there, a young lady who was in her last semester of pharmacy school, so she could prescribe pharmaceuticals for people who needed medication, didn't have money or transportation to go to an actual doctor. So she was able to do that when she graduated. She had a wreck on her moped and had terrible road rash down her backside. I mean, just bloody, and her skin was all torn up. She didn't have money to go to the hospital for medication or anything. So we quickly ran off. We got there, and they're like, oh, we'd like you to meet our pharmacist in training, but she had a bad accident today on her motorcycle. And my mom went, let Jen look at it. She's an EMT. So I helped clean her up and we got her medication. And a couple of days later, we took the owner to the local pharmacy and completely bought out the entire pharmacy. Because of course, with the money exchange, it was, $1,000 American US was, I forget what the money exchange rate was back then, but it was a lot of money. We basically completely wiped out the pharmacy and bought them absolutely everything they needed. And then by the end of that stay, we ended up actually paying for the girls for her to finish her last semester. I can't take credit for it. My mom paid for her final semester in pharmaceutical school.
Wow. And
I still keep in touch with one of the owners today on social media.
And that organization, what is their role in the community?
So that's the one that rescues and rehabilitates victims of sex trafficking.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So everybody has a different role. They kind of find what they enjoy. So there's a hospitality role. So somebody was learning how to be a bartender and a waitress, a young girl. So having been a bartender for 30-something years, I helped out with that. I also made the place a little more fire safe because they had extension cords running all over the little restaurant area.
Oh, my gosh.
I was worried about trip hazards. So I said, you really shouldn't have all of these cords plugged into this surge protector, plugged into an extension cord because this is a fire hazard. Let's do it this way. We had mats over the ones that were over the walkways so people wouldn't trip. But a beautiful little handmade resort on a riverbed that elephants would walk down the riverbed. You'd hear them at all hours of the day, the sound of the elephants and the mahouts riding them. But everybody was learning something different. So they did ask me before I left if I wanted to come back for a 3-month stay and I could teach one person fire safety and teach somebody else how to bartend and teach somebody else how to wait tables.
Wow.
And teach somebody else some of my EMT skills, some of my medical skills like first aid. And actually I was planning to take an AD back with me so they could have an AD on site for their clients or their staff. But then life gets busy and now I'm full-time at the Pantry. I can't just take 3 months off. But they're still in business and I would really like to do that after I retire.
Do it.
So I haven't thought about that in a long time. That'd be a lot of fun. I need somebody to watch my cats though. I'd have to hire a house sitter.
There are plenty of people who'd be willing to do that for you.
Free condo in Hawaii, gang, if you watch my 3 cats for 3 months while I go to Thailand.
There was one story that you shared with me a little bit earlier. Could you talk about your explorations in Dubai?
That was one of the trips. That was just Mom and I. My dad had passed already. He passed in 2014. We flew direct from Orlando to Dubai. We had the choice of going through Dubai or England, but we'd been to England. So we're like, let's go check out Dubai for a few days. That was all we could afford was 3 days. Because Dubai is really expensive. The exchange rate does not help us any. This was en route to Cape Town, South Africa. It was a month-long trip, and we spent 3 days in Dubai. So back then, when we went, women were not allowed to be first responders. It wasn't allowed. They weren't allowed to drive cars. They couldn't be lifeguards or paramedics or firefighters or anything like that. And of course, I wanted to visit the fire station. Now, at the time, I was still a firefighter. My mom was still a police officer. But, we don't walk around in uniform, so nobody really knows that. So we caught a taxi to the local fire station, and we walked in, and immediately guys ran up to us like, "Are you lost? Are you lost? Why are you here? Do you have an emergency? What's wrong? Why are you here?" And I said, "Oh, I'm a firefighter in the United States." And they laughed at me because women weren't allowed to be firefighters or anything, any first responder, right? They had some recruits training, and I started identifying the types of ropes and knots that they were doing. And I showed them my ID, and I showed them a picture of me in my uniform and in my turnouts. And I even said, "Challenge me. Open your truck and let me name some of the tools." Of course, a lot of stuff is different in Dubai than US, right? But I named probably 80% of the tools on their truck. And I knew the lingo. I knew the verbiage. So made friends with them, talked to the recruits, got a great tour. But we couldn't get a taxi back to the hotel. We'd call a taxi, and I think they thought it was a joke. We want to pick up 2 Americans at the fire station? What? The chief himself offered to drive us back to the hotel. And we get back to the hotel, and the doorman or concierge comes running out, all upset because why was the fire chief bringing the 2 American tourists back to the hotel in the fire chief's car? And I trust they'll never hear this because I might get the chief in trouble, and I don't want to do that. But apparently they had an inspection scheduled for the next day, and they thought they were doing that we were part of a surprise inspection a day early.
Oh.
So they were all up in arms about that. So that was a lot of fun. So I had to explain to them now, well, I'm a firefighter. My mom's a cop. They're like, no, you're not. I'm like, yeah, here's our IDs. Here's pictures of us. Yes, we are. And the chief backed up our stories. But everywhere we went in Dubai, we had people asking us, are you American? Can we talk to you? My daughter's learning English. A lot of the Caucasian tourists in Dubai are Russian and German and Italian. So they do speak English. Like everybody speaks English, but with an accent, with the Russian accent or a German accent or an Italian accent. They wanted to talk to Americans. So we did get to meet a woman and her daughter on a train, and she actually had beautiful English, like no accent. Turns out she was going to some Ivy League school in the U.S. and she was just home on vacation because they can afford it. I mean, that's their goals. They send their kids to Ivy League schools in the U.S. to become doctors and lawyers and whatnot, and then they come back to Dubai. But I did meet another American. We did the Burj Khalifa, and there's a shark dive in the Dubai Mall. It's a big giant fish tank full of sharks. So I did the scuba diving with the shark in the Dubai Mall, and that was amazing. Indoors. And I met another American.
Wow.
And turns out that American, he was working in, I want to say Abu Dhabi in the DOD. But a couple of years later, his son got stationed in Schofield.
Interesting.
So him and the wife and the other kids came to visit the son. And of course, we all went out to dinner, right?
Yeah, here
He's
in
like,
Hawaii.
there's this lady I met in Dubai, and now my son is stationed 20 minutes from where she lives.
Oh my gosh, what a small world.
And then we flew to Cape Town and drove the Garden Route, which is the southernmost shoreline, from Cape Town to Port Elizabeth and back in 3.5 weeks. We stopped at all these little Airbnbs and walked with cheetahs and lions and got to feed penguins and just ride elephants and the whole 9 yards, right? We had the full experience. Very first day, I went rappelling off Table Mountain in Cape Town. And that in of itself was absolutely amazing experience because I was all by myself rappelling down this mountain, overlooking Cape Town. And I caught up to 2 American girls when I was walking back up to the top, and we hit it off. They were from California, and invited them to have lunch with my mom and I in Cape Town afterwards. They said, well, an hour from now, we have plans to go hang gliding. And so we get back to the top where my mom was patiently waiting with the rental car. I went, Mom, we're going hang gliding. But Mom was 80. So Mom didn't go, but we followed the girls, and I got to go hang gliding over Cape Town an hour after rappelling off of Table Mountain.
Oh my gosh! What?
So, and I'm still friends with those girls.
It feels from what you've shared that you've been able to tie in all of your careers and your interests and your travels
with the traveling
into your social life and maintained those relationships.
Yep.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, and I mean, even now I have firefighters that volunteer at the Pantry. I got Ladies of Dangerous Curves. I have several of the ladies volunteer at the Pantry on a regular basis. So I was on Hawaii Five-0 as a background extra for 5 years.
Oh, yeah, you were talking about this.
So I played a firefighter or a paramedic on the show. You never really got to see my face because you really don't want your face on camera too much as an extra because they can't use you in other roles.
Oh.
Like if you get labeled as a paramedic and they use your face a lot, you can't be a firefighter in the next season. People will recognize you. It's a small island. And you can't be the lady drinking coffee at Starbucks, on the next episode. They'd be like, hey, she was a paramedic on the last episode. The focus was not too much face on camera. But it was so funny because the director was anytime there was a dead body in the scene and you're the stereotypical zipping up the body bag, the camera zooms in on the victim's face, the dead victim's face. Then you see somebody in black pants and the white paramedic shirt and the blue gloves zipping up the body bag and then walk to the end of the gurney and you picking up the gurney and walking away, but they never pan up to your face. But that meant I could do other roles. Like I could still play a firefighter. So most of the episodes I was a paramedic on the show, but I could play a firefighter as well. But that was a ton of fun. It's a lot of when you got a day off and you've got nothing to do, which doesn't happen to me now because I have 3 jobs. Mm-hmm. But as a firefighter, we only work 10 days a month. You get to watch how they make movies and how they make TV shows. I was on season opener of Mad Men one year when they were filming in Waikiki. I just played the tourist at a luau, but it went into like double overtime. It was like a 14-hour shoot. And we were all burnt to a crisp, like sunburnt, because we were sitting at this luau on the grass.
In the sun.
In the sun, with no sunscreen, but they had to cover. It was Mad Men, I guess, is based many years ago, like the storyline. I don't watch it, so was it in the 60s or 70s? But people didn't have tattoos back then, visible tattoos. So everybody that was playing an extra had to have all their tattoos covered with makeup. And I have one on my neck that was just super visible on camera because I had short hair. Mm-hmm. So like every couple of hours, the makeup would start running off and they'd have to call us back into makeup to cover all our tattoos. It's just a fun experience and little side cash.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, but matter of fact, one of the shows I played a firefighter on Hawaii Five-0. There were 5 women dressed in brush gear. It was a brush fire we were working. That was our scene. 2 of the women that were in the scene with me wanted to be Honolulu firefighters. And they, unfortunately, neither one did end up getting in the department, but they both pursued it because they met me on the show.
Very cool.
And I thought that was really neat.
I mean...
But they're both amazing women and have had amazing careers. I'm proud to call them my friends.
I love it.
It is a small island.
It is
for anybody who doesn't live in Hawaii. I mean, there might be 1 million people on Oahu, but it's really, truly a small island.
It is. Oahu's we're all a big and small community.
And everybody paddles. I paddled for many years. But when I started getting hurt, I had to stop paddling so much. Plus, paddling canoe is very demanding as far as time. It's a huge time commitment. So I did stop paddling, but when you start paddling, you get to know everybody on the island. Mm-hmm. I still run into people now that are like, hey, I used to paddle with the Beach Boys. I used to paddle with Lokahi.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm so appreciative of your time. This was the fastest conversation. I feel like it was
a lot jammed into a very short time.
But it's so indicative of the person that you are. You fit everything into your day. Yep. You've had this incredible career, multiple careers. Is there anything you'd like to add as we wrap up?
I mean, I think the important thing to be happy in life is appreciate what you have. If you're starting to feel like you're slipping and you're having a hard time in your life, go volunteer somewhere. There's a lot of people out there in the same predicament as you or worse. Helping other people really, truly does bring joy into your life. And showing aloha. Forget the road rage. I mean, somebody cuts you off. Maybe they're just having a really crappy day. Just let it go. This road rage is never personal, ever. And as a firefighter, I saw it a lot. And it's getting worse because people are really unhappy in their lives. And I get it. You know, our lives are tough, but gotta show aloha, man. If you cut somebody off by accident, give them a shaka. If you're feeling down, volunteer. Even if it's just for an hour, go volunteer. So lots of places to volunteer, not just the Pantry. I mean, we'd love to have you, but reach out and help somebody else. And it really will put you in a better headspace. Or go to the beach. There's been times where I've had to tell myself, I need to just chill, go for a motorcycle ride, go to the beach, get in the water, appreciate the fact that I, worked really hard to get where I'm at. And I need to enjoy living on an island. Because sometimes just going from job to job to job to job and working 60, 70, 80 hours a week, it wears on me over time and I get tired.
Yeah. I
mean, I'm pushing 60, so I've been slowing down lately intentionally.
Yeah, yeah.
Go to the beach. I now walk at Alamoana Beach Park in the afternoons to watch the sunset.
And just wind down.
Just wind down. Just helps me clear my head. And I ride bicycle on Saturdays. I ride motorcycles on Sundays. Just gotta enjoy life. Gotta, what do they say? Stop and smell the roses. You gotta do that once in a while. And tell the people you care about you love them. Because in a moment's notice, they could be gone. I saw it all the time as a firefighter. I see it as a biker. My dad's passed already. My mom's 91, so I'm going to see her next month. But spend time with the people you love and learn how to relax and enjoy your life.
I love it. I feel like everything you've talked about is chasing what makes your heart beat.
Yep.
You are living so fully, and I'm just so stoked.
Too much sometimes.
I'm just so stoked.
Too many hours.
I got to meet you. Like, what a treat it is to talk to someone who just makes the most of every moment. It's so funny that it's raining right now.
No, it's raining, of course.
I feel like it's like a celebration in a way of, yes, yes, yes.
What do they say? The Hawaiian gods are so happy they're crying.
Yeah, it's a blessing. Water is a blessing. But
it was really great to meet you. I'm so glad you came down to volunteer at the Pantry.
And we'll be back.
We're excited to see you again. It was so much fun working with you guys that day. Oh my gosh. It's just such a blast. It's so high energy.
So much fun. And I'll see you in a week or so. And then mahalo everybody for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this awesome conversation with Jen. And we'll catch you on the next episode. Thank you.
Thank you.